there was a bunch of old people that had been with him for a long time sitting around, and they were talking to themselves about, do you think we're ready to be teachers, to teach this stuff? And then Ramana came in, and so they asked him, they said, Ramana, do you think we can be teachers? And he says, yes, but I don't recommend it. And so then they asked why, and he said compassion. And then they go, can you explain? He says, yeah, you'll be in front of some people and you'll feel compassion for them and you'll dilute the message. Yeah. Yeah. Now, being very unpopular and having a very small platform, it gives us a lot of leeway to sort of stay to the point and not move from the point, hopefully, because we're not furthering this message, tying it to retreats and intensives and stuff like that. So basically, it's just an invitation. The invitation, if you're not ready for it, you're not that which isn't ready for it, but it's no big deal. It's like, this isn't about trying to, cram your foot into a shoe that doesn't fit right now. It isn't. It's about presenting something, and if the shoe fits, wear it. Yeah. If it doesn't fit, don't go through the gymnastics of trying to stick your foot in it. It doesn't matter. You can't lose. Yeah. If you don't get it now, it doesn't matter. First of all, there's no getting it, because when it hits you, it says it's always been this way. So it takes away any point of longing, or you blew it, or somehow your relevance in all this, because if it lands, it's going to tell you, like, without saying anything, it's always been this way. So it negates the whole freaking story. So if you reach this quote-unquote goal, it immediately negates the journey to it. That's what it does, yeah? So while you're on the journey, you can talk about it, but when you arrive at where you never left, it just negates the whole journey. That's the gorgeousness of it. The only awakening we really need is a rude one, and a reckoning of the impossibility of you getting it, yeah? The impossibility of you, as you're taking yourself to be, to get what it already is. It's impossible. So we had the AA thing yesterday, and there's a statement in AA in our community, self can't get out of self. So, in other words, that feeling of being the doer can't get out of being the doer through doing, yeah? That feeling of being the seer isn't going to look its way out of it. Yeah. So the idea is, self can't get out of self. What you'll do is you'll witness that's exactly what's going on. The mental state is trying to get out of itself as itself. What it made up wants to transcend what made it up. Yeah. Yet it doesn't exist anywhere. It only seems to exist in the system. So there's no transcendence of the system. There would be nothing. What's manufactured in the system can't leave the system. It doesn't have a tether. It doesn't have a source of power. There's no existence to it. So what the great news is, when you hear self can't get out of self, and you're seeing it from what you are, it just makes complete sense. Yeah. Complete sense. So when self can't get out of self is occurring, we miss it because it's usually you trying to get out of self. Yeah? We don't see the you as the identification as self. So it's the you trying to get out of self. And you believe that you can get out of self. You do. I mean, I was just at something just for a little while today. That was the whole effort of it, was let's make this you better so that it can transcend self. All the while, that you that wants to transcend self is self. It's the idea of being a someone, a doer, a thinker, a feeler, a seer. That's the beauty of it. when you hear it from what you are, it's incredibly good news. Self can't get out of self. And there's a convincing of that, yeah? There's a convincing, where do you want to call it? The innermost, whatever. It bypasses attempting to convince and stable that which can't be convinced and stabilized. But you see self can't get out of self, not from self. You see it from what you are. Yeah? If you hear it from you, self can't get out of self. You go, oh, definitely. But you're in the act of trying to get out of self right at that moment. That's what's happening. You see it, self can't get out of self. Oh, yay, I'm totally convinced. But at that moment, you're wanting to understand self can't get out of self. Is self trying to get out of self? I don't see. You can't get out of it. Once you're taken to be in it, you can't get out of it. That's the whole point. Yeah? So where is the out? It's not a consequence of having the right strategy to leave the in. It's before the in. The out isn't produced by escaping the in. It's before the in and out. Yeah? It's an out with no in. Yeah? It's just out. Out. Yeah? Once it's established as in, there's an agitation concerning what it's like to be in, and there's a drive to get out, which reinforces the in. You might as well check it out, because it just duplicates that same movement. The in is given reality by the wanting to get out. Yeah. So self can't get out of self, obviously. So a guy was sharing about it. It was great. He says, I've just been watching it all day. Self's been trying to get out of self. Yeah, exactly. What's one to do? Nothing. It's going to get tired. People don't realize the hamster wheel is only a wheel when the hamster's in it. The hamster is what gives the wheel the definition of the wheel. If not, it's just like a metal fucking ornament, But as soon as the hamster gets in it and starts running it, then we call it the hamster wheel, as if it would be wheeling without the hamster. No. Yeah? So self can't get out of self. So if there's you trying to get out of self, that's self trying to get out of self. That's the statement, yeah? If you're looking for the Buddha, you must not believe or have a sense you are the Buddha, obviously. Because why would the Buddha look for the Buddha? Yeah? I mean, it makes no sense. So it only makes sense when something's in place. When the you is in place, it has a defense against the recognition of self can't get out of self. It's you can't get out of self, and that's only because you haven't found the right way, or you haven't done enough, you see? It's always like in AA we have the greatest delusion is the idea that if I only manage better, yeah, things could go great. So the major delusion of you trying to get out of self is the belief that if you only did more, or stayed with the teacher longer, or hopefully don't take this but donate more money, which actually will help you get out of self. So there's that you wanting to trying to get out of self. That's the simple recognition. If you're not out, if you're not in, I mean, how much thought and effort does it take to get out of what you're not in? I mean, it should be like a breeze. You know what I mean? When there's a lot of thought and effort being exerted, something's trying to get in to something or trying to get out of something. What? Ask what is that believes it's in something and it believes it's so in something, is driven to try to get out of it, where it gives up all its cash and spends 3 months in a fucking forest, gets canker sores on your buttocks, your knees get shot, you can't ever play basketball again, and And what happens is, after 3 months, you have all your phenomena, but after a short period of time, your only answer is, I got to stay longer. Yeah? If I would have made a 6-month commitment, I guarantee you, me, would have gotten out of self. Why don't we just end that tonight? Yeah. And if you're not there, fuck it, it's fine. Don't try to jam your foot in a shoe that doesn't fit. The shoes will be they'll be put out every freaking day. Yeah? I got nothing to do. Just put out the shoes, put out the shoes. Oh, I remember you from 7 years ago, whatever. Oh, the same shoe. You've given up an old idea, you put it on. Hey, it fits now. It didn't fit before. What did you do with the shoe? Nothing. I didn't do anything for the shoe. Yeah? Yeah. It was, now it fits. Wear it. Yeah? But if you're trying to cram or jam it in, and it's just not, everything else I would say probably demands a lot of effort and thought. Please don't hold this that way, really. Please. It doesn't take vigilance. You're not going to have to be the witness. None of that. It's just a fact. If it isn't a process to try to make a fact, it isn't a fact that was lost, has to be renovated and rehabilitated to be a fact again. No, if it's a fact, it's a fact. Yeah? And sooner or later, there's going to be a recognition of that. And a lot of that energy, the rotation and the momentum of the wheel, will decrease when the hamster gives up. It will. Yeah? The hamster isn't in the hamster wheel. The hamster is the engine of the hamster wheel. Yeah? So again, non-duality. And I could be completely wrong. And who cares? It doesn't even matter. But non-duality, non means not, duality means two. So do we want to start concentrating and studying the vagueness of what is not two? Or why not look at what's so easily seen, two-ness? Yeah? You can see it. You can see it. You can see it in a life that you were a down and out addict and now you're recovered. Yeah? How could that happen? Well, in two-ness, it can seem to happen. Yeah? In two-ness, the worst thing that ever happened to you can be seen as the best thing that happened to you when situations change. Yeah? Who would have thunk? Yeah? What happens here? The shoe doesn't fit. Years later, the shoe fits. Nothing happened to the shoe. Things changed. Yes? All right, not two. Not that. Not all of that. Yeah? There's no in and out. There's no close and far. There's not connected and disconnected. These are all imaginings. Yeah? Imaginings in the mental little dreaming. Yeah? Doesn't mean they don't have an impact. Doesn't mean anything. It's just a fact that they're not so. Yeah? And basically, the impact they do carry is based on how we see it, really. If we believe it to be so, it seems to be so. If we don't believe it to be so, sooner or later, if that's correct, you'll see it as not so. Yeah? It's just that way. So, yeah. All right, that's it. Yeah. Come alive, squares. Come alive, squares.
Anybody want to? Oh, Judith is putting her hand up in her box. Go ahead, Judith. Nobody else has their hands raised. I guess I have to unmute you. Okay, I've unmuted you. Unmute yourself.
That would be a good T-shirt. Just walking around. I've muted you.
Oh, look what I found that I thought I lost. Can you read it, or is it backwards for you?
I remember
can't get out
it
of
very
self,
well.
bro.
Yeah. I remember that shirt. Did you steal that from my house?
No, I bought it the same day that guy visited us, and then I lost it.
It sounds like a story.
He bought it from you just like he bought this table.
Oh, yeah, he bought it from me like the books and everything and the table. Oh, all right. All right, Judith, go ahead.
Well, you said a whole lot, really, especially when you pointed out at the fact that feelings will come and go, and that the mind will try to own that, and then you end up holding the bag, and that bag is hey, and it happens to me. It happens to me. If it
No,
wasn't
it
for,
happens, honey. It
oh yeah,
happens
it happens. Yeah, it
to you.
happens.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
It
the
happens.
add-on that sinks us seemingly. Yeah.
Right. And you also said previously
Judith, can I
that,
just say one thing for a
sure,
second?
sure,
Just one thing. It happens is obvious, yes?
right.
This is how the to me gets validated by the obvious fact of something has happened, and then it throws to me in it, yeah? Which
Of
gives
course.
it so then the fact of what's happening gets lent to the story. Yes. You see it? The
I
language is an
see it.
incredible thing. Watch it. So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Thoughts of
Because,
happening, yes, to me. Well, I don't know about that. Yeah.
right. Well, it's because most likely I'm trying to be honest with myself. And actually, I'm telling myself the biggest lie when I put to me in front of the cart.
Yes, yes.
What a trip.
Yeah.
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 What a trip. Thank you.
You're
That
welcome, honey.
was great.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
can have a lot of appointments like this. All right. You thought you had to take an hour, now you can leave in 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. My pleasure.
What a trip. Yeah. I was feeling pretty heavy yesterday, and as I'm washing my dishes, all of a sudden this feeling comes over, and 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 I just said, well, who's feeling it? Who's feeling this? This is not what's going to happen right now. Right now, washing dishes, that's it. And it went away
Yeah.
all on its own.
Yes. Well, it wasn't there to begin with, so.
Right. Oh, can you expand on that? Because I'm sure it would help all of us.
Well, it wasn't there to begin with.
Right.
You were there, so
Simple.
you there was a blowing of life into that, and then there was an inhaling of it back. Yeah.
Oh,
Something.
right.
Someone has a sheep or something out there.
Oh yeah, those are my two sheep.
Some goat is.
Those are my two sheep. They forgot that they got fed, so they called me to feed them again.
I was wondering. That's a pretty good soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's like talking to the sheeple and then hearing a sheep.
Not the sheep.
The siren call. I'm doing great, but don't worry, I'm still fucked up. Oh yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
You and thank you. Thank those goats. Is sheep, not goats?
Sheep.
Yeah, they're the best. That
Yeah,
was so much fun.
my hand fed sheep.
Oh,
I'll
really?
fed them both.
Yeah.
Feed them more tonight for their service.
Oh, no, they're pets.
Oh, great, great.
Good.
All right, bro. Which one next to you?
Anybody else want to raise their hand?
Oh, that's good.
Where's Fatso?
Fatso's outside. Fatso is he's dreaming electric squirrels. All right. No one? Oh, that's it then, eh? Great.
Pat's already on.
What?
I raised my hand.
Who's already on?
Patricia.
Oh, Pat. All right.
So I just really want to say, Paul, that I have such deep gratitude for the message which flows through you, and for you being the vessel for the message. Because I swear to you, I know this is going to sound a little bit like healing, but I swear to you that it's so helpful to me in a very practical way. So, I know last week I was just, and of course, you know, I don't think I'm really going to be able to describe this well, but last week I was just feeling incredibly crushed with so much to do and so much pressure and really challenging things. And even though I'm retired, I'm a retired lawyer, but people ask me for help and I always say yes. And I was just like, oh, I was just feeling just like screaming. And I just sat down and I was just open, and I thought about the message, and I was like, whoa, like I had this beautiful distance that was created between what I'm just going to call the vicissitudes of human life that just keep rolling and coming, and you know, it's always going to happen, right? This is always going to happen. But then I was able to see that I was able to get some separation from that and see that's not me, that's just this moving picture. And yeah, I'm going to deal with it. It's going to resolve. It's going to, new stuff will roll into the picture. But I don't know, that's the best I can say it. But I was like, holy, I feel a huge sense of relief just from having that distance. Just from having, it was kind of like a wider perspective. It was from being really narrowed in on like, and then just kind of getting this like wider view. So I just, you know, have to thank you. And I had something really similar last night where, you know, Duality was just smacking me in the middle of the night where, you know, it's, you know, I hadn't heard back from my nephew on a text, and you know, I was like, wow, you know, I'm estranged from so many people in my family, and if he doesn't have a relationship with me, I'm going to be like an orphan, and I'm going to be really disconnected, and I'm going to be all alone. And then it just, you know, it just rolls, right? The mental state, just like,
Yeah. But see, even if that's true, the
respect,
take on it isn't true. You see, it's telling you it's going to be super bad.
right?
See, and if you could just see a little bit of its track record, you realize it's all propaganda, basically. Yeah. So when people say, I'm super afraid of being destitute, it's not about destitution. It's what destitution means to you. Like, no one's going to like me. Everyone's going to know how bad I am. There's no way I'm going to, you know, bring a girl home to the refrigerator box and shit, you know, all this. So it's just tons of meaning drenching everything. And we don't even get close. We call it something and we're not even close to what's going on. It's just unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
because we don't have a sense that you and I are giving everything all the meaning it has. We don't. So these little, in other words, if you were blind, let's say, or you were in a state of not knowing a lot while you were going along, yeah, let's say dreaming or whatever, but basically your static condition was not knowing a lot, yeah? So when something happened, you would make up a story that had nothing really to do with the causes and conditions, yeah? And then you'd go on the phone and try to sell it to other people and try to get it, yes? But basically, if some of these statements from different sources will land, yeah, they'll correct a lot of the bullshit that comes from not knowing, really. Not knowing is a great condition, but not knowing a lot of shit that's very influential is sort of like the act of blindness to what's happening, yeah? So this simple thing of in the Course in Miracles, you and I give everything all the meaning it has. There you go. So at that moment, if someone's talking to me about they're afraid of being destitute, and I'll take them on a little trip, which is, all right, well, what does it mean to you to be destitute. And they'll go, oh, well, I'm bad. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, I don't deserve anything. Well, what does that mean? Oh, no one will like me anymore. What does that mean? So now you know the destitution was a symbol of all of these fucking other made up false evidence shit. Yeah? Yeah? And so, but you're thinking it's destitution. But it has nothing to do with it. So the patient keeps playing the doctor and keeps prescribing fucking medications, and the doctor is one of the worst aspects of the patient. It's like in the course they would call it unhealed healers, yeah? So we're being led by a failed GPS, and then it's telling us what's going on and why and shit like that, and then we're just seeking some agreement from some other sheeple to make us feel somewhat okay. Now I'm okay with being fucked, but you're still fucked, yeah? I mean, what? That's a booby prize in my book. You know what I mean? Oh, now I know why I'm screwed, but you're still screwed. I'd like to knowledge to precede being screwed, not come after, but before. Yeah? So this whole idea of, hey, you and I give everything all the meaning it has. I heard that and then I saw it. Yeah? You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Oh, guilty. Yeah? Self can't get out of self. Oh, there you go. Yeah? I mean, this is the point. It isn't an intellectual novelty. It's letting things land, yeah, that are very they're basically are about how things are and how things aren't, and they're fucking sourced. Their source is unbelievable because it's coming from mind, yeah, and it's coming through different things, but it's coming from source, so to say, yeah, and so. It's like the same thing with like gravity. You know, you're under the effect of gravity all day, but when you're bitching about gravity, you say it's the hill or the stairs or shit like that. So the appearance that causes the gravity to be felt, we give that as the source. The cause of my discomfort is the fucking stairs. It's not the stairs, it's gravity. You're going against a force, and there's a feeling of it, but you have no fucking clue what's going on. But you can't, the mental state can't stand a second of not knowing. So it makes something up. So it's sort of like you want to know all about gravity, go into an anti-gravity chamber. When you're relieved of the effect of gravity, you'll be able to recognize the influence of gravity. This is the message. The message is giving us. It comes in, it hasn't been neutered yet by the system, it hasn't been pasteurized and homogenized and turned into another aspect of the system, hopefully. It's been a sudden little whack that you got, a resonation or something, and then you hear a couple of things. And those couple of things sort of describe all these chaotic dominoes and lines them up. And then suddenly, now it makes fucking sense. And the sense doesn't bring you more seeking for sense, it brings you relief. Relief. And not just, and then the relief gets to a point where it stabilizes where you don't even recognize it anymore because you're not having an experience of relief, you're relieved. It's sort of like the same game's going on, but it's been lifted about 20 feet. Yeah? You can't see the difference because everything looks just like it did, but there's a huge difference. Yeah. So now you have a new baseline, and it's of contentment and satisfaction instead of fucking thwarted desires and anger and vindictiveness and thinking you're the victim. Yeah. Huge difference. Yeah. Huge difference. So now. Don't know, like in Zen, is like the highest form of mind. You don't need to know anymore. You found out. You found out that this dreaming is giving everything all the meaning it has. Yeah? Jesus Christ. You know, you found out from looking at your own experience, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You found out that self can't get out of self, and you better recognize the you that's masquerading as you may be self. Yeah? So then that can be put to rest. And then, I mean, really put to rest. Yeah? It's not brought up for debate every few months. You don't have to, it becomes a basis that's sound. It's sound. It doesn't need a lot of advertising. It doesn't need a lot of yapping. It's just like silence. The silence allows all the notes of every music to appear in it, yeah? Yet it doesn't make a sound in a way. Yeah, but all sounds are held in silence. Well, we're way before thought. Way before thought. Yeah? And what we are can't be thought about. It can't even get close to describing it. Yeah? So just, these are shoes, I don't even like to call them spiritual shoes, but shoes. And if they fit, if it hits you somewhere, there you go. You have a certain level of soundness, and then soundness will beget soundness, and things will become clear. Yes? Without working hard at it. You'll just observe, Jesus Christ, I have no interest in the need to be liberated. None whatsoever. None at all. I don't want to get higher. No. I don't want to transcend. No, because I've seen the impossibility of it. Yeah? So the great wisdom of no escape is there's no escape from something that doesn't exist. Yeah? You escape by it more. You know what the rope of escape is? Acceptance, yes? And that which can accept, you accept that as not you, yeah? And so there you go. Yeah. You know, if you could take self can't be get out of self and put it on you, the amount of information that would download, really, it's unbelievable. Yeah. It explains the whole situation. Yeah. You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. So obviously, from the get-go, the whole basis of the narration up in one's head is that the body is what's perceiving. It's the body that's seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Now, you may not think Huang Po is an authority. I do. And it's, to me, a great authority told me, hey, whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. So that puts in question the rest of all the riffing of the narration. The basis is off. It's ridiculous. How's it going to go? Is that first step that's off going to correct by taking more steps? No, it's just going to add to the mistake. So I heard some of these things years ago, and they're still super alive. They're like avalanches. That's why I find any possibility I can to share them, because I can feel avalanches inside. They have so much life in them for me. Because in a second, a lot was explained that I had no idea was fucking going on. None. I could have spent years trying to figure it out, but I knew it before in a second, yeah? The fundamental failure of where we're starting from, that needs to be questioned. Not where you're going, but where you're starting from. If it ain't you, it may change all your fucking trip plans, yeah? Maybe you don't have to go that far to arrive at where you already are. Maybe not, yeah? So...
Thank you, Paul.
Oh,
Paul,
you're welcome. Thank you.
Paul, you're on fire tonight.
I'm on fire. Been so burnt, I don't know.
The background, your
Thing has
background.
been burnt so many times. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the next person. Thank you, Pat. I really appreciate you. And by the way, I have some questions about law I want to use you for. I'm only kidding you.
Gary's
Yes.
up. Gary's up next.
But you can actually advocate for me in the court of light. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, yeah. All right. Who?
Gary. Gary
All
C.
right, I'll bite.
All right, Gar.
Hey, so I wanted to talk about just sitting quiet this morning, and I started thinking about some of these ideas about noticing this thing that thinks it's gonna know something, and and then it's like what you're talking about. Then part of me notices, wait, I see that. I see what it's doing. It's trying to do that trip again. But then I noticed the one who's noticing the one who's doing the trip, and then it's like a hall of mirrors, and it's like, oh I see, and then it got hilarious after a while because there's just this row upon row. One sees the other, and it's like they're all imposters.
Well, the thing, none of them see anything. They plant themselves by the claiming of the seeing. But no, none of those seers see anything. There was already seeing, and they came up after and claimed once again they're the seer. That's what. That's why it's like, hitting the head of the thing is going to pop up somewhere. Whack-a-mole, It's just going to pop up and say, "I'm the one who hit the last mole." Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
None of that is seeing anything. We're the
So
seeing, yeah? We're the seeing, and the seeing is the audience of a huge circus. And the circus is performing its little mental gymnastics and trying to catch, and it's only playing to that one audience, yeah? Us, yeah? There's nothing wrong with attending to the circus. It's when one of the biggest clowns of the circus is the idea of being the seer of all the clowns, yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so so my wife has this idea for a blog. She's never figured that, never actually done it, but it kind of fits in with this because she'd like to do a blog that says we now know, because it's like this coronavirus thing. Well, first we knew that it was gonna turn the world on fire. Well, we now know it's not as bad as we thought it was. Well, this kind of thing, I thought
Well,
her
it is
idea.
if someone has it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but the statistics I'm talking about. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
and the same thing with this thought. I get this thought of like, oh, I now know what was going on, but that one gets replaced by another. We now know, and the point is, there's always another one. There's always another one. You talk about it being a mechanical process.
Yeah.
That's helpful. It's like, oh, it's a mechanical process. It's going to go on, and there's a duplication that goes on. There's like nothing I have to do about that. It goes on
Yes,
and on
Gary,
and
let
on.
me just say one thing before I forget.
Yeah,
And its arising doesn't disqualify you. Yeah.
the insight.
When there's the claiming of the seeing, that doesn't disqualify you. You're the seeing. Yeah. So the movement of claiming doesn't disqualify us as being the seeing. Yeah. This is what the head does. It tries to make itself relevant. So when you see something, and then there's a seeing of something, and then the claiming of the seeing said, you see the seer, but the seer didn't block the seeing. Yeah, yeah. You didn't get disqualified from seeing because there was a rising of a seer, as if you did it. Yeah, it's mechanical.
just because there's a clown that pops up and says, "Look at me," doesn't mean that seeing the insight wasn't
Yes,
true.
exactly. It has nothing to do with it. It's just another one of its attempts to take the attention and interest into its little trip. Yeah. See, this thing, there's a belief that either after you believe that you as what you're not was going to arrive at what you are, when that becomes obvious not so, then you believe what you're not is blocking you from what you are. That's not so either. Yeah? It's not a good vehicle to arrive at where you already are, and it's not blocking you one bit. Now, you can believe it, and in time it can seem to be so, it can appear to be so, but it never reaches so-ness, yeah? Your so-ness, you and us, what we are, is the so-ness, yeah? Nothing that we're seeing that's arising is going to become or be so-ness. It is ultimately, but not as its little separate thing, yeah? Yeah.
Not if it's the cop or the criminal. Not
Neither. No. See, the cop can't arrest you, and the thief can't get away. Yeah, it's all the same thing. Yeah. But, you know, see, we see something, but we don't see, let's say, its tail. Yeah. So we think we see self, but we don't see the tail of it. So the tail is wrapping around something. Yeah. But I'm just sharing with you.
Well, I'm just not quite sure how to take what you're saying because when I watched that this morning, it was hilarious. I laughed out
Yeah.
loud. It was great. It was huge. See
Yeah.
those clowns line up in a row and fall down.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, that's the echo of authenticity. Is laughing. All right, go back to the corner, Gary. Don't come out until I tell you to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thanks, Gary. Mary's up next.
Mary. There's
Hi,
Zoe. I
Paul.
see Zoe and Kerry. I see Mary. Oh, Mary.
Hi. Hey, Paul. Thanks, man. I just, I'm sitting like it's so funny all the things that go on as I'm watching you and listening to you because it's like I'm so jealous that I'm so not experiencing all that relief yet, and then I'm seeing that I mean just it's like 20 billion. It's just all the time, right? And one of the things you said last time really was helpful, and that was, or a few times, something like you said, I'm just as fucked up as ever, but I've just lost interest,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
and I just so appreciate that, like because there's no like this isn't. I just love your tone, like it's so not holy and some reverent thing. It's like the fucked upness is like that's the struggle for me so often has been, right? The guilt about being so fucked up, but
Yes. Yeah.
right, and the whole alcoholic addict shame crap, and so I think that's why when I picked up the course and it talked about the guilt, driven mad by guilt, and that whole
Well, yeah.
yeah, literally like driven mad by like the insanity of all of this, like, and the only two places I ever saw insanity were the step 2 and the Course in Miracles, and I got that. So part of me, something in me just so is hearing you and loving it and treasuring it, and then all the spinning is going
Well,
on.
just stay with the first part. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, just stay with that, and then the other stuff's the other stuff. Yeah.
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 I hear you. But I wanted like somehow that thing that you said before, and I want you to, if you can, give a really practical application of the perceived cannot perceive. Did I get that right?
All right. No, whatever can be perceived. So even through this mechanism of Zoom, I'm seeing a body,
Yeah.
yeah, and a couch, and the part of the frame of a picture and some living plant maybe. And yes, so that's what's perceived in this event of perceiving. I'm seeing this
Yeah.
body, stuff like that. And you're looking out and you're seeing this body, yes?
Yeah.
So what is perceiving this event cannot be perceived. So
Okay.
so we're not the body.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, good.
Thank
Yes.
you, Sue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Mary. Anybody else want to raise their hand?
Kelly, I can barely see you in there. It's like a ghost. Fritz, nice to see you, and Dimitri. This is a nice page here. Kerry Klein's holding the middle of the squares. I'm moving over to a more shaky square, which has got Randy, Jeff, Rob, Sharon. Who's this one? My active speaker. Switch to active speaker, Carl. We got Matthew, Patricia, George. George is, he brought a couch into the void. That was a good
Oh,
move.
George. George is the one that had the photo I did the share screen with.
All right.
So,
Celia,
thanks, George.
very comfortable. Let me go to the next one. We got Marianne. Is this Marianne that I used to know? No. Oh. Do I owe you any money, Marianne? Oh, good. That's good. Sandy, we got Zlatko, Judith. We got the Bopsy twins up there, Nick and Mike. We got Drew and Deepak. No one wants to share. That's so fine. It's great. I have to go to the anonymous group. Oh, there they are. Susanna and Stacy, two of my favorite people, and Monique. Wow, what a trifecta. Fantastic. Actually, Monique, Susanna, Stacy, Amelia. Woohoo! That's the square. Malcolm. Keith. Keith is now somewhat outside, I guess. Yeah. Yariv. Keith is he's straddling the Golden Gate Bridge. Don't jump, Keith. Come down. And then I have a lot of Sue. Sue gave up showing herself lately. Julie.
Hey, Paul.
What? Oh,
Deepak has his
Deepak.
hand
All
up.
right, let me get back to Deepak. I think Deepak was in the first thing. There he is. Deepak, how are you?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay, okay. Nice to see you again.
Very nice to see you.
Okay. So as such, you have said it all, that the not me, what can not me do? So I don't have any question, but in one of your last talks, last week you talked about Kundalini, like
Yes.
there was, so could you tell us more about that? Because in Indian tradition, rising of Kundalini and liberation, they go together. In fact, Kundalini awakening is a prerequisite for liberation. So I was very, I found it very interesting when you talked about awakening of Kundalini. So could you tell
I
us
don't
something
even know
more
what
about
it was. I would the the acupuncturist guy that I went to see called it that, and but I don't have it aligned with anything liberation or something. Our target is much more, let's say, ground level, traveling lighter. Yes, yeah, that's to me is, and on a stabilized level, which most of us have admitted to ourselves we can't pull that off. Yeah, if we could have, we probably would have already, and it hasn't seemed to have been worked. So there's a recognition, a very deep one, of the limitations of this expression of Paul. And so, yet, Paul has like this big mental hen sitting on it that thinks it's the center of the universe or it has to do so much more. And as I think Pat was talking about, there's a lot of coiledness in us, yeah? A lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and it comes out in spiritual seeking and everything like that. And really, what we're not isn't up for the task. It isn't, yeah? It isn't. I mean, when are you going to say you're purified enough and then you take a big shit? As now you got to purify again? I mean, it's just a lot of... So basically, I don't care about anything, really. I just travel through the day. I care about a lot of things, but mostly little things, yeah? I walk around the day and, whatever. Things. I mean, I can't even... I'd be terrible to write a blog because I forget what I did but after I did it, I couldn't sit down and write a whole thing about it. So the energy for me, I believe some people here as an action figure may have to be undone because maybe, let's say in America, the wattage of electricity is 110, let's say. And let's say you're going to get revamped so that you can handle 220 energy, yes? So maybe you're going to go through an event, what you would call an energetic event, yeah? That's going to rewire you so that maybe you'll be more... like the person was saying that we were on fire, yeah? Maybe you'll be able to withstand being on fire quite a lot, yeah? Something moving through the system, the message, can sort of burn up the system, yeah? When I was first doing it, sometimes it was so strong, and a lot of times I was playing to an audience that had a lot of resistance, so it was just like getting sucked out, and anything that was going on in my body after the talk would be amplified, yeah? Like my stomach and stuff like that. And it was sort of a drag, really, as for the action figure. You'd feel this big energy, and yet it wasn't, it hadn't learned how to, like, roll with it, And then over time, things have happened where that which seems so extraordinary is the new normal, yeah. Yeah? Yeah. So, I want to I just want to stay on point, I really believe that there's a mental activity that we're in a state of not knowing about it, and it's really representing us, yeah? Really, and it's quite misleading, yeah? And it doesn't... for some reason or another, it doesn't leave the person it's representing that satisfied and content. Yeah? And I feel if we are the seeing, if we are the awareness, if it's pointed out to us, we will see it. We will see the activities that are being used to imply a noun. We'll see it. And if we see it, not someone else see it, but we see it, there'll be a losing interest in the noun, and of course there'll be a gaining interest in the verbing, just the way it goes. Yeah? Even though the same language will be used, that always inserts nouns, even though everyone who meets you will think you're the one that's doing everything, yeah? It will be different for you. Yeah? You'll be established in the verb, let's say. Yeah? And the idea of coming and going and arriving and then getting kicked out, all that is pointless. It doesn't make any sense. You're just flowing. Yeah? There's no... That's why I don't believe... it's like the sky. They used to use it in Tibetan Buddhism, the big open sky. It allows everything to appear in it, but is not affected by what's appearing in it, yeah? I would like a little of that in my daily traveling, yeah? I can't produce it. I can't maintain it. I don't even recognize it, yeah? But I do over time observe it, and I do have the ability to express it. I do. I can't have it, I can't get it, I can't experience it. But it's influencing all my experiences. Yeah? and I've reached a sort of
It's a kind of
assurance.
state of surrender.
Eh?
Would you say it's a state of surrender kind of thing? It's a
That's an aspect of it, but I
surrender.
don't know. I don't think it's any. I don't think it's a state that's rote. You know, like this is the state. I think it can appear and express in thousands of ways, but because of my life action figure being an addict, surrender played a very huge role in changing. Yeah. So to me, surrender was what really set the base, and then more followed. Yeah, but it set the base. I was the action figure needed correction, and I've been corrected by a way of life called recovery, and that opened other possibilities up. Yeah, it just opened up other possibilities. I don't see it as cause and effect, but if you look at it from time, basically it would be like the St. John to the Jesus, yeah? In the Christianity, St. John was like me getting sober, and then the Christ mind can show up, yes? You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm Christ mind and St. John, using an example, yeah? So first, St. John, I heard the call, there was a surrender, and then something else showed up, yeah? Nothing showed up, but yes, so yeah, but I have no idea how it will go for anybody. Yeah, I definitely know it doesn't. It's not like a choreographed dance with 13 steps done in a certain way. I don't believe that. No. Yeah. And you know what happens? See, from selfing, we look at a saint, let's say, and then we try to do what that saint did because we believed it was how he was behaving that led him to be a saint. But he got struck a saint, and he's expressing itself that way. It's not a way to get to where he is because he never did any of that to get to where he is. He's expressing where he is into that, yeah? But the way we see things, we miss the whole freaking point. We're looking for, give me a formula, you know? It's like you could say, I remember we used to have a joke about some guy or some woman shopping in Walmart and on a Saturday morning, and they're walking through the appliance aisle, and a toaster falls off and hits them, and they get it, yeah? So now they share this, and now people are going to Walmart at Saturday at the same time, having them friends knock the toaster off with the hopes they can reproduce what they thought was produced by those whole events. They were a form of expression. The toaster had nothing to do with it, yeah? It was just like accessories, you know? Yeah, yeah. That's what happens. When I first was going to satsang, people, there was no intention to it, but they would share their event, and it would cause people to believe, well, I'm not there yet because I haven't had that event. Yeah? The head used it to fucking exile itself again. Yeah? Even though the person was sharing in a beautiful way, the head that was listening to it turned it into something. Well, that hasn't happened to me yet. Yes? You see? You see how important the listener is? It's the most important thing. The message isn't important. It's the hearing of the message. Yeah? See what the head does with it. It takes an invitation of the fact of being what you are and turns it into a path for what you're not to travel. That's what it can do. It's insane. And you come from that history, so India is awash with that. And you know, sometimes we get left with frames of how we see things. And what needs to be changed are the frames. And us appearing in the frame ain't going to change the frame. We've got to just admit and tell the truth about the framing, and then maybe the framing won't be able to hold you anymore because you won't buy that you're the picture. Yeah? Yeah. Thanks, Deepak. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul.
Deepak.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to see you. Yes. For some reason, I like you, Deepak.
Sonny and his
Thank
daughter
you so
Ria
much.
are
I
Don't prove me
also like
wrong.
you.
Sonny.
Sonny and Ria.
Sonny
In
and
front of
Rita.
my daughter, you have to say you like me.
Oh, yes, we like Sonny.
So my 15-year-old daughter, she said that she really enjoyed listening to you. She has a question.
All right.
Very musical and artistic. I compose
Wait,
a lot.
Ria, start over because the volume was
a
too
little
low.
closer to the mic.
Oh,
That's better. Yeah.
so I'm very musical. I play a lot of instruments like piano and violin, and I've been composing on the piano ever since I was really little. But nowadays, I I just can't get out a good tune. Like usually I'll just sit there and like whatever happens, it happens. I don't have to force myself to like get out something. But nowadays I'm just like, oh, I have to go sit on the piano and trying to get something, and I can't. Is that what you're talking about? Like being in yourself and being in the head, like you're forcing.
Yeah, just get up from the piano. Revisit it later. Yeah?
Even then, I'm not able to. I haven't played for I think 2 months.
Oh, that's nothing. Maybe you're building up some new tunes. You don't know. You don't know what's going on, do you?
No, not really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, stay with that. What's going to happen if, God forbid, you just do the next thing? You know, maybe it's not coming out, so you don't do it. You know, in this job, this little seat assignment I have, sometimes I get invited places, and it's not appropriate. Yeah? I walk in, I feel like I'm like a hired gun they brought from out of town, and I just look at everyone and I just say, fuck it, you know, not sorry. I just say, forget it. You know, really. I mean, yeah, it's just not right. It's not appropriate. So right now, you know, you have all of this musical intuition, and then sometimes it takes a break for a little while. Yeah? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It takes a break, and then it comes back even stronger. And maybe you'll write one of the best songs or best compositions the next time you sit on the piano. Yeah? Just because it's taken a break doesn't mean it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Ria and Sonny.
Thank you.
Oh, Sonny, yes. Thank you, Sonny. Beautiful daughter. Yeah.
And here's my son.
Oh, here's your son. All right. Let's meet the son also.
He's too shy. Okay,
Oh,
there you
it's nice. Here he is. Everyone's saying hello. See you guys.
go. Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice, Sonny. Yeah. It's a
Hey,
family
I
affair.
got a request. Can we hear some of your music, Ria?
Well, I have I've okay, so I have a YouTube channel where I put my songs on. So we have a home studio. We built it just a few months ago. So I've been putting songs on a YouTube channel. Just
Oh.
to get
Well,
myself
why
out.
don't you, next time we come, uh, do this, come and play a song for us.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah?
Okay.
And Sonny, put it in
Awesome.
chat too. Put the YouTube channel
Put the
in
link
chat.
in chat, Sonny. Sweet. Thank you.
We're going to expect to see you again, Ria.
I'll come next time. I don't have a lot to do right now. I'm sorry.
Come next time.
Yeah.
Yes. That's good,
Yeah.
honey. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sonny, are you going to put the link in the chat?
Sure. I'll go ahead and do that. And then, if you know, Paul, if you want to, I'll just do this Zoom from next to the piano and she can play it next time.
Yeah, next time. Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's about an hour song.
This will become a variety show. We'll
She
get
can
you
be
a
your new
rapper.
opener, Paul.
Do a whole concept album.
It's, background is being-
All right, anyone else there?
Anybody else want to raise their hand?
Hey, Paul, I'll share just in response to Deepak's question, just kind of a reporting that one of the things the message did was help me to lose interest in Kundalini stuff. And I remember one of your advice to me outside of the meetings was don't act up and don't die. And so that kind of became my mantra. And the idea of pursuing any energetic stuff kind of just lost interest in it. I saw it as self, trying to get out of self on steroids, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because mine's the other side of the experience where you would say that if I saw myself ending up like this is exactly what I wouldn't have wanted it to be like.
Yes.
So my low key lifestyle, I have no real Kundalini experiences, but just what was always seeming, what I could say now was always waiting for me to appreciate is a quiet life. But the meaning I gave it before, right, ended up in depression and addiction. And it hasn't changed as far as being quiet, but it's not depression and addiction anymore.
Yes.
So
What does that imply?
Yeah.
What does that imply?
Yeah.
We're giving it the meaning.
It's
Yeah, so-
what we're in this event here that seems to play out through this activity of time. We're what's before everything. We're the dreaming of the dreaming. All these statements, what does it mean? It means exactly that. Yeah. So before being, a simple life seemed to be a petri dish for depression and whatever, and now it seems to be a petri dish for peace and serenity.
And funny. Lots of
It's
funny.
us. Yeah, it's us. Yeah. Yes, it's us. See, there's a great statement in the Course. I don't know if people are into it here. I may have changed it over the years, but it's a description of what's happening today, which is you and I are the dreaming of the dream. Now, I don't like the word dream because it seems like an object. So I say you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. We forget that we're dreaming. So that was interesting to me. How do we seem to forget that we're dreaming? Well, I would say by being identified as the dreamt, yes? So now suddenly the dreaming, seemingly it appears to it that it's forgotten itself by remembering itself as the dreamt. Now with this in place, suddenly everything I'm giving meaning to, right, now has the ability to affect me. Yeah? Now I have an ass that can be bitten. So basically, it turns on you. And so when I heard that description, it seemed to diagram every one of my days. Exactly. And when I heard the description from the Course in Miracles of my activity, it sounded so much more intimate than like a biographical history. Paul was born here, lived in New York, yeah? The feeling of the activity of being, quote unquote, Paul, that activity of giving everything all the meaning it has, yeah, of seeing, that there's projection, then perception. So projection to me is the dreaming, and then the dreamt sees the dreaming as real. So that's the perception of the mistaken perception of the dreaming is that it's real. It can only happen through the dreamt. So the identification as the dreamt suddenly allows the dreaming to appear real. Yes? Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So this is what I'm talking about, like shoes. This is what we do at the talks. We're just throwing out tons of shoes with the hopes. Not every one of them have to fit. Only one has to fit. Yeah? Only one has to fit. And that sets off recognitions And then when the mental state wants to claim it, you see the claiming. And so then it's untouched. And that fucking thing grows roots. And now you have a solid basis. Yeah? Now there's an ease and comfort. You enjoy peace of mind. You know the word serenity. These things become intimate. And you see, as an activity here, you are verbing. There's no noun to be found. We're just verbing. So, yeah. Well, if there's no more questions, I could just say hello to everybody or goodbye. Yeah? Until we get a question. Fritz, I'm very happy to see you, Fritz.
I need a hand sign for the office.
And the feeling is definitely mutual.
Thank you. Great, Fritz. Very good. Dennis, very nice to see you again. Keep that pacemaker on, please. Yariv, very nice to see you. My friend Howard from Oklahoma City. Supplies are on their way.
Hey, good man. Thank you.
Oh, Johans again. Nice to see you, Johan. Thanks for sticking with us. Monique, fantastic. Say hello to Mom. We got Bev up here. I can't see you. Kerry, nice to see you, Kerry. Kelly in there. She's got a Golden Globe or something going on. She's captured the chi. We got Gary. He came out of the corner. Get back in the corner, Gary. Ask the Awakened. Yes, I like Ask the Awakened. The Negative Way. Yeah, one of my favorites. Keith, fantastic. Imad, nice to see you.
Well, can I ask you a quick question?
A question? All right, Ahmad.
Yeah. Like I keep, a lot of thoughts come up about like, what's the identity, what's not the identity, all of this. It just keeps coming. Is that something I'm overdoing it, or just let it go?
You're not overdoing it. It's overheating. Don't worry.
So don't worry about it. I mean, it just comes out, just questions all the time.
Don't worry. The system's overheating. It's dying to know.
So it's okay.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's a good sign.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't give it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
All right.
Please, let it go peacefully. All right.
Hi, can I ask a question? I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, where am I?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can I be heard? Oh, okay. So it's Abhishek. I'm on the phone. I'm not at home. So I'm having an issue. So like when there's trauma and this stuff, a reaction rises.
An issue's having you, it sounds like.
Yeah. That's fine. I don't really care how I word it. It's just that there's this rage that's visceral that has nothing to do with intellectual thinking. I don't even know what it's about. It's just from reaction to circumstances that I don't recall. And I don't know how to be in surrender with it, because I can be relaxed with it. I can let it be there. And I guess the idea is that I do want it to become resolved. So there's a desire for that. So I don't really know how to, like, what to do.
Great.
Because when I go into open space, it contracts and it doesn't let me open more.
That's not true. You're before it, so it can't stop you from opening. You are open, period.
So but the habit of reaction maybe is the problem? Like the habit of falling for it?
It's only a problem if you think it is, really.
Well, it's unpleasant. So I don't like unpleasant.
Well, then use that unpleasantness and ask to who? To who is it unpleasant?
And to how I react to it, I guess. To the I that's reacting.
Yes, well, the I that's reacting is not the I, yes?
Right.
Yes. So now you've recognized what's feeling very unpleasant. Thank God it isn't you.
Except that I can say that, but I don't seem to be able to
Then
experience
do
that.
something. Don't seek an answer in the head. Take an action. Help someone
So like
else.
a physical.
Yes, a physical one. Yes.
So just going for a walk or something,
Walk,
or
going for a walk. Distract your head. Yeah.
because it's like a tightening, but my head isn't thinking a lot. It's more just that my heart is just feeling of anger, and I don't even know. It's just there.
Yeah. Well, that's just give if you can. If you need to distract yourself, distract yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that would
Yeah,
help
why
to
not see
loosen its pulse.
why not we see, let's say that comes up, and of course something arises and doesn't want to feel that, but at the same time you could see it as, oh, I know this is going to shake me up and I'm going to be much better for it. You don't, why do you get stuck in one way of looking at it? They're all fucking false views anyway. You might as well pick a better one, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm feeling a fed upness.
Well, I hope so.
So
That would be great. That's a very good place. Let's just stay there.
because just by being present with it, it'll just do its job, do its thing. Or
Well, it does. What you're not really doesn't want to be present with it. It's not being too successful, so you might as well. Remember,
okay,
if you can, the idea of surrender or something like that is really voicing an assurance that you're in good hands. Yeah?
yeah,
Yes. And just as the head likes to pull up evidence, mostly false evidence, you must have had some demonstrations in your life. That's so. So bring them up into the attention. Yeah. You know what I mean?
well, what came up is that there is no faith or sense that the pleasant is reliable. Like it's safer to be distrustful. So that's what I think it is.
Well, good, but it's not how you think. That's the thinking. So maybe that's coming up for review.
Yeah,
Hallelujah. It's not serving you. So, yeah. I'd much rather get taken advantage of than to live a life of not trusting. I'd much rather have a few experiences where I got taken or got my feelings hurt than not to have any feelings at all. It's a bad deal. Yeah.
I don't even know.
Well, just stick with it, honey, and come back here or go wherever you need to go. And like we say in AA, this too shall pass. Yeah. And then you'll be
Yeah,
see the head acts as if things are going to kill it. Yeah. And but you keep on ticking. So let's at least bring some fucking truth to the advertising up there. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna practice remembering this too shall pass
Yeah, and do
and letting
something.
myself
Make
relax.
bake something you like, or if you can't remember that, I'll tell you what I like, and then you can send it to us.
I'm going on a walk right now.
Oh,
So,
good. Get out. Yeah. All right, honey. Take it easy.
thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Abhishad. You gonna continue saying goodbye to people?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Let's see. Randy, good to see you, Randy. I like you. Yeah, Celia, fantastic. Sharon again. Oh, I saw everyone. Carl's wearing a Zen Bitch Slap shirt. Ah, very nice. That's the Yama, the deity of death, in holding the wheel of life. Love that shirt. Yeah, I don't have any myself, really. I'm a mercenary. I'll sell it right off my back for $20. All right, Sonny and his lovely dog Ria and everything great. Z, fantastic. Judith, yes, holding the space well. Mike and Nick, Mike, fantastic, all the service you do. Without Mike, this wouldn't be happening, folks. So if you appreciate this, throw some to Mike. Yeah. God knows I don't appreciate him that much, so might as well get it from other sources. And yeah. Oh, yes, let's say goodbye to Marianne. Marianne, nice to see you. Deepak. Sanday. I'm having trouble with that name. Uh, and yeah, I just care, I'm actually have a lot of fondness for everybody.
Yeah, I know you do.